Hey, welcome on in, NASCAR fans. This is the Highline Podcast here on Winning Bets, and I'm, of course, Jason, and he's, of course, William Blackwell. We look forward to hanging out with you guys throughout this episode. What we do on this episode, we'll, of course, look back at last week at Richmond International Raceway, where Kevin Harvick went back-to-back, and then, of course, we'll preview this upcoming race here at the Watkins Glen. And then we'll, of course, give you our picks for a chance to win $10,000 over on the Nbc Sports Predictor App. First and foremost, so it's good to have William back. How's it going there, man?
It's going good, man. NASCAR is starting to heat up. The playoffs are just right around the corner. You got Watkins Glen this weekend, which could be a wild card weekend for some drivers such as Blaney and Truex to win and sneak in and make that 16 different winners. But there's also Daytona the following weekend. Two big races for them drivers on the cut line. And another thing to keep an eye on here this weekend is whether or not Kurt Busch is racing. Because if he does not race these next 2 weeks and misses the first race at Darlington, I believe it is, he can be out of the playoffs, and that'd be another spot added. So keep a close eye on that one. But a lot of things going on here.
Yeah, I think Kurt Busch is in trouble. I think it's going to just be hard for him to jump back in and be as competitive as guys who have just been, going at it each and every single week. So unfortunate situation there with the concussion.
Because if he does not come back this week, and there's no way. And you know what? He's going to come back next week on that Daytona. The fastest track on the schedule, which produces a lot of wrecks, and that can just make the concussion protocol a lot worse. And to be exact with y'all, viewers, Kurt Busch never really said he had a concussion. He just said a brain injury. We just all had the assumption of concussion, but it could be a lot worse than we think. So, well wishes out to Kurt Busch. He's missed a couple of weeks now. I would hate to see him go out like this, and I'm sure there's a lot of rumors going about speculating Kurt Busch be done, Kyle Busch going into 45. I just want to see Kurt Busch go out on his own terms because I'm sure a lot of y'all out there, Kurt Busch back in the day early on was very immature, and throughout the years he matured and won a championship and won multiple races, including the Daytona 500. Sad to see the rumors coming out, though. Hopefully they're all false, but Kurt Busch, man, I hate not seeing him at the track no more.
He's definitely one of the big pieces, though, that can really change, this offseason with the NASCAR, cars moving, guys moving to different cars, whether he retires or not. I would think that this is probably going to push him over the edge of retiring. He was already considering it. Now he's got this injury that sat him out for the past 4 weeks. All right, plenty of time to talk about that. I love how you always upload on your channel NASCAR Silly Season. So, of course, make sure you're staying tuned to William Blackwell's channel. And, of course, all that stuff is in this video description. Let's go ahead, though, and look back here at this Richmond International Raceway. Again, it was the Federated Auto Parts 400 where Kevin Harvick got the win. And can we both agree that it's the Federated 400? If it's the 401, Christopher Bell tracks down Kevin Harvick. He was motoring around that. He was on fresher tires for 15-ish or so laps. He had fresher tires. If that's the 401, Christopher Bell wins, right? You in agreement?
Easily, without a doubt.
Yeah.
Kevin Harvick, he even said in this post-race interview he forgot to shift on the front straightaway.
Yeah, he did.
He even admitted it. And if he would have missed it one more time, Bell would have pounced on it and got the win. But Christopher Bell had a great run. Ever since his win out in Loudon, things haven't been really going as well as he hoped. And I think that's a really good momentum builder. Heading into Watkins Glen, a great racetrack for him and that whole JGR team. But also after that, you got Daytona. Daytona can be good for him. So Christopher Bell building up some momentum right now. The competition needs to be worried about him. But more importantly, Kevin Harvick. Kevin Harvick is back-to-back wins right now. And I'm very scared if I'm the competition because Harvick can go on a tear very easily. These last 2 weekends are tracks that you got to be good at, and Harvick was good at them. So if I'm the competition, I'm worried. And another shout-out right here, a big one goes to Chris Buescher.
Yes.
The team, RFK Racing, in the year of 2022 has not been a top 5 organization. But Chris Buescher is showing everybody wrong and proving them wrong and bringing home top 5s week in and week out, it seems like. This man deserves a new contract. Brad Keselowski, re-sign him for a long-term deal. Please.
Yeah, he's on one of my drivers I want to talk about when we get to the go bowling there at the Glen. Keeping a thing right here on Richmond, though, for an extra. Logano was strong for majority of the day until his car kind of fell off there in stage 3. Obviously, you mentioned Bell, you mentioned Buescher. I wanted to talk about both of those guys. They were strong. And then Kevin Harvick, just super impressive. And as you said, he's going to be dangerous because he's got the pedigree to really succeed at most tracks any weekend. And they're heating up and they're gaining confidence. And that's not what you want for the competition as you move on in NASCAR. What did you think about Richmond? I'm going to say average-ish race. I thought there was good racing throughout the field at times. I thought of all the short tracks this season, I think this has been the best short track race. It was better than the spring. I'm not trying to say it was a great race or a good race, but if I'm just comparing to the other short tracks this season, I think NASCAR has made the improvements. It was better, and then again, better in the spring. I don't know, average to me around 7-ish, 6.5 if you were to scale it. What do you think out of 10?
I would say out of a scale of a 10, it's about a 5. It's the best short track we've seen this whole year. Martinsville sucked.
Yeah.
Richmond 1 race sucked. Bristol was a dirt race, so you really can't judge that. We will see what that's really like here in a couple of weeks when they race the night race there. But this is the best one by far, but it still is. They still got a lot of work to do to make these cars more capable of racing side by side in these tight corners. Momentum takes so long to build around these tracks, and by the time it happens, you got the momentum to make a pass. You're getting ready to settle for a corner. And I think NASCAR is going to have to get their engineering team this offseason and to look and to see how can we make passing at these short tracks more available to happen. Right now, its passing is very difficult, and they got to tighten that up this offseason. This next-gen car, we all expecting, heading into year 1 with it, that there will be some flaws and struggles, and this is clearly one of the biggest ones going on. Right beside the wheel problems, because the wheel problems have kind of died down, but they're still there every once in a while. It'll bite you. And they got to get some things sorted out this offseason here. But as for Richmond, it sucked.
Good race for Richmond, though. If we want to analyze like just Richmond races, this is a track that can get long green runs and guy can set it up. I mean, it could be a boring race. So I thought 4 Richmond races, it was halfway decent. Like I said, maybe a tick better than average at 5. You put it at 5. I got it 6.5, 7. So, all right. Anything else you want to talk about Richmond, or you want to move it over now to Watkins Glen?
We can go to Watkins Glen.
All right, let's do that now. We're at the Go Bowling at the Glen. Of course, it's Watkins Glen. William said it earlier. We only got 2 more races to the playoffs, folks, and we got 15 different drivers so far. You've got this one here at the Watkins Glen, which of course is a road course, and then next week at Daytona. Generally speaking, we know anything that can happen. So far, winners on the road course, we've seen Chastain, Suarez, Reddick, and Reddick obviously picked up a second win there on the road course. So that's who's been winning, at least on the road courses. What do we think, William, in terms of, I don't see there being a new winner at this. I think it'll be one of the 15 guys. Are we seeing a repeat winner, or are you thinking maybe a newbie will snag the all-important 16th and then make Daytona, I think, an absolute chaos? What do you think?
I think that NASCAR, I don't know, in every sports league there's something rigged, and I think NASCAR would hate to see their biggest race of this year, that they move from the 4th of July weekend to be the regular season finale, to be pointless. And I believe they're going to still find a way, because you know how they like to throw them random cautions at the end of the race and to jumble things up. And I believe that would make a repeat winner more happening. So saying that, I believe we'll see a repeat winner here. And we can also see 2 drivers this weekend. 2 drivers. I was looking at the math earlier. Cody Ware and Corey LaJoie can be officially eliminated from playoff contention this weekend. They're so far behind, and Ty Dillon in 30th place in the points. So remember, all the way back in Atlanta and back in July, if LaJoie would have won that race, he would still be out of the playoffs. So that's the crazy thing about it. Top 30 is key.
Yeah, I was wondering where you're going with that. Yeah, I've had them out of the playoffs, I think, most of the season. You say if NASCAR wants to add some intrigue. There was an opportunity at Michigan when Wallace and Harvick there towards the end. What was the car? It was one of the Trackhouse guys, wasn't it? Suarez or Chastain that had the issue there and had to come down to pit road. There was an opportunity for NASCAR to throw the caution if they wanted to, maybe sneak Bubba in the playoffs, or at least make that finish at Michigan a little bit tighter, and they didn't do that. So I hear where you're going with that. Either way, Daytona is going to be excitement, because you're going to be 16 winners, and now you're knocking off somebody that's on the low end there on points, or you're going to go into that race on 15 and it's who can steal Blaney's spot because he's in on points right now on that 16th playoff driver. Either way, it's going to be
Because where I was going with that, you had Nashville back in June where Chase Elliott won the race. Don't get me wrong, they waited that whole day because you had bad weather in the area.
Mm-hmm.
But when that race got going at the end, they had that overtime finish, and we saw Brad Keselowski wreck. NASCAR didn't throw the caution. They let Chase Elliott get across the line, and he won the race. I thought they should have threw it there. NASCAR wants to play their own games, and the teams already know that going into each weekend. So they got to be prepared for anything to happen.
Yeah, they've never been really consistent in terms of penalizing teams for pit road issues, whatever. Lose the wheel. One guy loses his crew chief for 4. The other guy has no penalty. It was just like Bell a couple weeks ago, wasn't it? Bell when he lost the tire.
It was Cindric.
Or Cindric, yeah, and they don't penalize. Yeah, NASCAR's always been a little bit inconsistent. What are we looking for this weekend, William, in terms of, let's not look at the guys that are the favorites, your Elliott's, maybe your Reddick, your Larsons. What about other guys? I'm looking at Michael McDowell. Last time we went to the Indy Road Course, I gave out to my viewers Michael McDowell to finish in the top 10 at plus money. He came through for me again. I think Michael McDowell is another guy that can sneak in the top 10 this weekend here at Watkins Glen. You mentioned Chris Buescher. I think he's definitely a name to keep an eye on there in the 17 car. And I also like Christopher Bell in the 20 car. I think you mentioned him rightfully so there at Richmond. I think he'll be strong this weekend. What are some guys, again, don't mention a Larson or an Elliott or maybe a Reddick. What are some other guys you're keeping an eye on?
I'm keeping a close eye on Eric Jones, Ricky Stenhouse Jr., Austin Dillon, and Bubba Wallace and Michael McDowell. These are drivers that are still in reach of Kurt Busch in points. Say if Kurt Busch were to miss this weekend again, which I'm sure is still a high possibility, they can pass him and go to Daytona next week if we were to have a new winner this weekend and still win and make the playoffs. That's what's going to be interesting to keep an eye on here. But the other thing to keep an eye on is just one word, and that's something called points. Points are going to be up for grabs this weekend, and stage strategy is going to be all over the place. Teams that are not going for the championship will obviously pit early, but teams that are going for the championship and points will stay out and get the stage win and a couple of points there.
I'm pretty sure Elliott can wrap up the title this weekend if he has like a decent showing. He doesn't even have a good showing.
34th or higher, and he will clinch the regular season championship, which will make Blaney have to win to make his way into the playoffs. He cannot rely on the regular season championship.
That's right. All right, one more question here before we move into our picks on the NBC Sports Predictor app. I know you're more of an F1 guy, and obviously we've got Kimi Räikkönen racing this weekend here at Watkins Glen. Obviously, I think there will be an adjustment in terms of obviously car and getting used to the car. He'll practice and qualify, so that'll help, but there will be an adjustment. I think top 20 is probably a good finish. Trackhouse has obviously had a lot of speed. What are they going to do in the Project 91 car? I assume it's going to have speed, right? They've had speed at almost every track, both of their cars. What do you think? You're more the F1 guy. I don't follow F1 on any level. Is the top 20 for him? Top 15? What do you think?
All right, here. A couple of weeks ago at the Indianapolis Road Course, we saw Danny Kvyat driving the 26 car for Hesselberg Racing. He didn't do so hot. Had a DNF there, but he's with a bad team. He had no stock car experience prior. Kimi Räikkönen, however, is a world-class driver. He won the Formula One championship many years ago, and he has numerous wins on a Formula One calendar. And he decided to retire at the end of last year and to spend time with family. And next thing you know, Justin Marks gives him the call, hey, you want to run a couple of races with us, starting in Watkins Glen? He said yes. And they immediately put him to the simulator, got him on the track, and I think it was VIR, testing a couple of hours there. He did so well, supposedly according to the team. And he's also raced in the past in the Truck Series. A lot of people forget. He raced for Kyle Busch in the Truck Series at Charlotte, raced for Joe Nemechek, which is John Hunter Nemechek's father, and the Xfinity Series when the 87 was a thing still. So he does have experience in NASCAR. I would say top 20 is the, let's say, I'll say ceiling. I would say that. Anything higher will just be a big positive. I'm expecting a top 25 at least by the bare minimum of Kimi Räikkönen.
All right, sounds good. All right, let's turn our attention now to the NBC Sports Predictor app. This is, of course, the fun game there where you can win up to $10,000. You get stages, 3 stages. You got to pick the driver to finish best amongst the stage. Then you also got to give them a top 3 all season long. I've been giving away $25 to the winner of the Winning Bets League. If you need that league information, you can grab it from this video description. If we take a look and see who won last week, it was JC. JC coming in with 40 points. So hit me up on Twitter. Drop me your PayPal information, and I'll send you $25. And I'm on the leaderboard in a strong second place. A lot of people there with 35 points. So good showing there by everybody. And, of course, we all start with 0 points this week. So good luck to everybody that's in that group. All right, with that being said, let's jump into our picks. Let's start with, obviously, with stage 1. We got to pick between Almirola, Briscoe, Cindric, and Raikkonen. Let me throw mine up, and I'll speak first, and you can and then you can do yours. Mine right here. I'm going to go ahead and go with Briscoe with the caveat I'm really just picking between Briscoe, Cindric, and even Raikkonen if he has a really good starting spot. But whoever has a better starting grid, because I think pit strategy between Briscoe and Cindric is generally going to be the same. So whoever really has the best starting position, I'm going to look for. Not knowing that on a Tuesday when we're doing this live, I'll go with Briscoe. And then you explain your pick. Let me throw yours up.
I'm going with the Iceman, Kimi Raikkonen. He is coming to NASCAR. He has stock car experience. And he is not going for the championship, so he is going to pit. I would say he will stay out there, actually. I got that mixed up. He's not going for the championship, but he is going to stay out there to grab owner points. Owner points are going to be big for Trackhouse Racing because if they're wanting to have an open entry, let's say at Talladega later on this year with a random driver and there's 41 entries, it will go down to owner points. So owner points are going to be big here, and that's going to be the main thing. Darian Grubb will get stressed out by Pitbull and Justin Marks. Darian Grubb is the crew chief for the 91 car this weekend. He's going for owner points. Owner points are big.
I love that angle right there, man. I didn't even consider that, and that makes a whole hell of a lot of sense. So great stuff right there. All right, from stage 2, we had to pick between Allmendinger, Larson, Logano, Wallace. Look, I went with Larson here. For whatever reason, just having some crappy luck. But that crappy luck's generally been coming late in stages 3. He's generally been good in stage 1 and 2. So that's why I've got him. I think he'll keep getting snake bit by some of the bad luck that's been kind of happening to him, generally speaking, over most of the season and here of late over the last 10 or so races. But in stage 2, all right, I'll go ahead and stick with Kyle Larson over Allmendinger, Larson, and Wallace. Looks like you went with Bubba Wallace.
Yes, I'm going with Bubba Wallace because he's going to realize is going into this weekend. Winning here is not going to happen at all. If it's going to happen, it's going to happen next weekend at Daytona. So what we're going to do here this weekend is go out and maximize the points. And we know that people are going to pit prior to the end of each stage. So we can stay out and grab some valuable points, whether that's 1 point, 2, up to 10 points. Because any point will help Wallace. Just remember this. He wants to be ahead of Kurt Busch at the end of this weekend if there is a new winner, because he can still go out next week and win and make the playoffs.
All right, so you're going for Bubba Wallace in stage 3. As you can see, we both went with Chase Elliott when we had to pick between Blaney, Elliott, Harvick, and Truex. As hot as Harvick is, I just went for the guy that was clearly the best on the road course when comparing, to these other 3 guys. Was that, generally speaking, your logic?
Yes, that's true. Elliott is a phenomenal road course driver, and I think he's going to have a good weekend.
All right, with that being said, let's have you go first. Why don't you tell people who you like finishing in the top 3?
All right, here. So winning is going to be Austin Cindric, his second win of the year. So there you go. Austin Cindric wins and officially makes it into the playoffs. He's a one-time winner, so he's really not guaranteed a spot. In second place, I put Kevin Harvick, and I kind of don't know why. It meant to be Chase Elliott. Chase Elliott was my stage 3 driver. I kind of rushed it. My bad there.
Yeah.
But Kevin Harvick is not going to do so hot this week, and Chase Elliott will. Third place would be Christopher Bell. Christopher Bell, man, he's on a tear lately. He's going to get another win. It could very well be this Sunday, but I believe if it's coming down to my opinion, Austin Cindric will be the guy.
And let's go back to something you said. You said you rushed it. That's a great thing for our viewing audience because you could never win the $10,000 with that entry because you've got stage 3 Elliott over Harvick, but now you've got Harvick having a better result than Elliott in the top 3. So just make sure our viewing audience, William admits he rushed it. It happens to the best of us. That entry won't get you a $10,000. So make sure you swap out Elliott there for Harvick on his. For mine, I'm going Christopher Bell. He's been good on the road courses. I loved what he did last weekend in Richmond. Feels like he's tuning up. Chase Elliott, obviously one of the road course kings, hasn't gotten a victory this yet on the road course, but one of the strong guys each and every single time we come to a road course. And then Chris Buescher, look, at 4 road course races this season, he's had 3 of those in the top 10. We mentioned what he did last weekend at Richmond. I like Chris Buescher. I think maybe he could sneak himself up in there. So, all right, Bell, Elliott, and Buescher will be my top 3. Normally, we also give you our picks for a chance to win $1,000 on the Fox Bet Super 6 app, but I looked about 5 minutes ago before we jumped on here, and they don't have a contest. So you'll just have to get those via Twitter later on. We don't even have a contest yet.
Fox Sports is a Joke, a joke. Like, absolute. Ever since let's say the Coca-Cola 600, their chances of winning, they're one of their money giveaways, is like slim to none. They're asking you all these hard questions, and I'm telling you, it's impossible to win. If you're going out there and trying to bet on NASCAR, NBC Predictor App is the best one by far.
Yeah, absolutely by far. All right, cool. Well, this is going to be an exciting race, William. Everybody's going to be tuning in with the NASCAR bubble right there. What's up?
One last thing here. You said Chris Buescher is going to have a great run. If I'm Brad Keselowski heading into this weekend, please stress to Chris Buescher that you're not going to make the playoff on points. You've got to be aggressive and bump someone out of the way. This past weekend, he had the opportunity to bump Harvick out. They were close to each other with around 20 to go. And next thing you know, Buescher starts losing pace and falls off, and that's when Bill passed him. He could have also been a little bit more aggressive out in Sonoma earlier in the year when he was racing Suarez. Bump him out of the way. If that's what you got to do to win the race, do it. None of this nice guy is going to matter much longer because after Daytona, if you're nice, you're just going to find yourself out of ride much longer. So Chris Buescher, be more aggressive.
Love it. Yeah, he also lap traffic kind of got in his way there too as well at Richmond. But yeah, great point right there. All right, William, thanks for coming back in here this weekend. Thoroughly enjoyed it with you here. Again, big race, obviously with the playoffs starting the week after Daytona. So we'll come back next week. We'll of course see where everything fell here after Watkins Glen, and then we'll preview the big race before the playoffs start. It's down in Daytona where anything can happen. So all right, William, enjoy this weekend at the Watkins Glen, and we'll catch up with you next race. Have a good one, man.
All right, man.